You are entering the bonus stage, a podcast produced in association with OceanofBees.com, with your host Marauder
and Phoenix923,
a podcast for all gamers,
console and PC alike.
Welcome to Bonus Stage.
Hello and welcome to Bonus Stage, a podcast produced in association with OceanofBees.com. As always, I'm your host Marauder.
And I'm Phoenix923.
And we are back after a 1-month hiatus because winters in Michigan blow. But also, I was just really busy.
Yeah, same here. The school semester started up for me, so...
But we're back. So we are going to get right down to it by checking out what is new on oceanofbees.com. We have a handful of new videos and blogs. I'll start from the bottom up, I guess. As of new videos on Ocean of Bees, the Inspector posted Pippa Funnel, the Stud Farm Inheritance Revisited, which is an interesting video because I think he's trying to tie his series into a larger idea. So if you're interested in anything I just said, go ahead and check that video out. The next video is posted by Sammy Kablam, who's making his triumphant-esque return. And his video is Public Domania Horror Express, which is basically where Sammy Kablam will watch a public domain film and riff on it the entire time. So the movie's about 90 minutes or something, and you can watch the entire thing with him. It's actually interesting and quite hilarious. So I highly recommend that if you have the time. And the newest video is Marauder's Retro Adventure Jewel Master, which is my review of the Genesis game Jewel Master. So yeah, if you guys want to see a review of that, go ahead and check that out. As for the blogs, we have two new blogs. The first one, The Baz versus Doctor Who. The Baz gives up his thoughts on 50 years of Doctor Who. Do the current incarnations live up to his expectations? So if you want to know what his opinion is on Doctor Who, go ahead and check that out. My opinion, I have no opinion. And the latest blog is Marauder's Movie Blog, Top 5 Films of 2013, where I list off the top 5 best films I saw last year. Spoiler alert, Pacific Rim is on the list somewhere. If you want to know where, you gotta go to oceanofbees.com and check it out. Anyway, that is everything that is new on oceanofbees.com. So, we're gonna move on to our topic of discussion, which, being the beginning of 2014, well, about 2 months in, but you know.
We're so on time with this.
we're getting stuff done. I thought it'd be fun that Phoenix and I talk about our top 5 games of the year to give you guys an idea of what you missed, or rather what you should play. If you haven't played these already. But these are just, of course, our own personal lists. I haven't played everything, God knows. And I'm sure Phoenix hasn't played everything either.
All the top tier AAA titles that only come on console. Yeah, not playing any of them.
Duty Battlefield Calls 2014. So yeah, we're just going to go from top 5 and talk about each one as we go by them, and it should be interesting. So, no news topics this time, but next week, well, next podcast next week. I don't want to give false hope. But next time we'll get back into our regularly scheduled programming. All right, so I guess Phoenix, you want to start off with your number 5?
Well, actually, I want to give off 2 honorable mentions first.
Oh, yes, let's do that. All right, you do your honorables, and then I'll do mine.
Okay, both of my honorable mentions is Starbound and Audiosurf 2, specifically for the fact that they are not fully released yet. They're in early access on Steam, and yeah, they're in their beta stages right now. But Starbound, if you don't know what it is a 2D side-scrolling sandbox game, much in the like of Terraria, if any of you have played it, where you go through a planet, mine resources, create better weapons, armor, fight boss monsters, as well as, basically mold the landscape to however you will. And the reason why it's so good is because there's just so much stuff to do already, and it's only in beta stage. Not only, unlike Terraria, where you only have the one world, this game, there's multiple planets within multiple sectors of the universe that you can go to. There's literally hundreds of thousands of planets in this galaxy that you can fly around to. And there's different tiers of progression that everything just gets more and more harder as you keep going, and then ultimately in Sector X, it is their highest tier / difficulty area, where if you were in a multiplayer server, it would enable PvP. The monsters are the strongest there. The bosses are ridiculous. And yeah, it's basically Terraria on steroids. And like I said, it already has a lot of content for just being in beta, so once that finally gets released somewhere along the road, hey, I'll be playing it a lot more. Already dumped in like 20 hours into it.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not surprising for you, given how much you've thrown into Terraria.
Yeah, I have around 200 hours in Terraria. But, yep, there's that game that's out there. I would recommend buying it off of the developer's website if you are interested in it, because you get the soundtrack for free, whereas if you bought it on Steam, you would have to pay another $5 for the soundtrack. So that would be my recommended way of buying it.
And I assume you get a Steam code either way.
Yeah, you get a Steam code either way, and a DRM free copy as well, if you buy it off of their website.
Big fan of the DRM free copy.
Yep. So, then the other game, Audiosurf 2, it is, it's a game that creates its content based off your music, and you may be wondering why anyone would want to create a sequel to a game like that, where, the amount of content is how much music you have. Basically, in this one, it is in an upgraded engine, so things run much better and smoother. The look of it is spectacular, and there's actually quite a bit of mod support for this as well. You can go and create your own play modes. You can customize the game pretty much however you want, thanks to the mod support. And also, if you just feel like doing something else other than listening to music, there you go. There's like, I think, 8 default built-in play modes, and then there's hundreds of other ones that users have already created on the Steam Workshop that you can dig yourself into. There's also leaderboards if you're into that sort of thing, where you can compete with other players to get the top scores on your favorite songs. And the great thing is that all the leaderboards are their own thing in terms of the play modes. This includes even the custom modded ones. So it's just an overall grand improvement over the first game. So there's my 2 honorable mentions.
Alright, so go try those now. And then come back, because we'll still be here.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so on to my honorable mentions. I actually have 3. I tried to make it 2, I really did, but 3. So, my first honorable mention is Beyond Two Souls for the PlayStation 3. Mainly because I haven't played enough of it yet. And I'm really into it, but I have to play with our friend Alex because, I don't have to. That's kind of just what we do. And so whenever we get time together, that's when we play it. And we're just not that far into it yet, so I'm interested, but I don't want to throw it on my best of list because early impressions might be misleading. Alright, so the next one is Papers, Please. Now, I've seen this on a lot of other people's top Games of the Year lists, and I completely agree as of right now. It's just another one of those, like, I haven't played it enough, and I had to pick 5, and I picked the 5 that I played the most this year, that I enjoyed the most, and Papers, Please, I just got way too late in the year. And I just have not had much time to play it yet. It's really good, and I highly recommend everyone try it. It's weird how much fun checking passports can be, but it's actually really
checking
engaging.
Checking passports, validating
work passes,
border passes, work passes, making sure everything's legit. You just go through, oh yeah, sure, spend 5 minutes on this guy. You go, okay, you all look good. Go on through, then you get the pink slip of doom. Find out that you missed the fact that it stated male when they were obviously female or something like that.
It's the stupidest little things that catch you. It's like, oh, what do you mean it was expired? I didn't see that. Yeah, but no, it's really fun, and the story is pretty interesting and all that. So, and it's got a neat art style. It's got like an 8-bit NES looking art style, which you wouldn't think would work to its favor, but it does. Yeah, so very much enjoyed that game, but again, just got it too late in the year to feel right including it over some other games. And my last honorable mention, and this will shock Phoenix. And if this was a top 6, this would be my number 6, but it's not. So it falls into honorable mention, which is Pikmin 3. I really liked Pikmin 3 a lot. I had so much fun with it. I'm still playing through it because they released some DLC for it. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. But the other 5 games on the list, I just had more fun playing. So, it just kind of falls
got pushed back.
Yeah, it just got knocked off the top 5, but only just barely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of why I liked Pikmin 3 was just the graphics. I'm not a graphics whore, but it's a really pretty game. So, and the gameplay's good. The game's good, but anyway. So moving on. So go ahead with your number 5 pick.
I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? Why isn't that number 1? But, my number 5 is Pokemon X and Y. I'll admit, I stopped being a Pokemon fan.
You mean that's not number 1?
Yeah.
I'm going to write you so many angry letters once you tell me where you live.
I'll admit I stopped being a Pokemon fan around Platinum, just because it just felt way too samey for me. Every single game was just the same game rehashed with a couple of more Pokemon and maybe 1 or 2 new features. But the core gameplay was just the same. And granted, in Pokemon XY, it's pretty much the same, but I would say the major player in having me enjoy the game so much is the move to complete 3D. It was just... It honestly felt like a completely different game. Instead of it being all the 2D based 2.5D world stuff that they've been releasing in the past, it just felt completely new, and I guess it just felt right to play it, and it was fun. It was really fun. The story within it was, I'd say, very compelling, and I was interested the entire way through. All the way up till beating the Elite Four. My only complaint about the game is it's actually a bit too easy. In regards to the previous games, mostly because of the EXP share item, where instead of it only giving EXP to the Pokemon that you have it equipped to, it gives it to the entire party. So basically everything levels up in the same at the same time, and everything is just kind of growing evenly, which kind of I know I could have just turned it off, but mostly I just kind of forgot about it. And,
why would you turn it off? It's so useful.
Yeah. That and the Elite Four was kind of a pushover as well.
No more. What was the guy in the first in Red and Blue where he was? He had all the Dragonites.
Oh, Lance?
Yeah, and he was just a huge pain in the butt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's totally gone.
Yeah. The Elite Four was kind of a pushover. The Champion was a bit more difficult, but still not as difficult as others have been. I'll just say this: Fennekin is best Pokemon.
Fennekin is the best Pokemon ever.
Because I think this also contributes to how easy the game was. Fennekin is super effective against 4 of the 8 gyms and one of the Elite Four members. So there.
It's like throwing out a win half the time.
Exactly. But another interesting thing that I can't believe that they finally got this right is all the internet stuff for Pokemon.
Oh yeah, the connectivity is amazing.
All the internet stuff they got right with this. You can. My favorite is Wonder Trading, where you basically choose any random Pokemon and then you trade another person their random Pokemon anywhere in the world. And you could just do this all on the fly. You can trade with friends over the internet. You don't got to do it locally anymore. It's just such a vast improvement over what they've previously had. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Pokemon X and Y and why it's number 5.
Alright, well, I'll go on to mine then, but this is going to be easy. Number 5 for me is Pokemon X and Y. I second every single thing you said. The game is far easier than previous games, and yeah, I was also not a Pokemon fan. I mean, I was when it started, but I think it was when I bought Pokemon White on the DS and started playing that I realized it hadn't changed at all. And Pokemon X and Y, the core gameplay is the same, that's true, but it's just so pretty. And the full 3D worlds and the character models and the Pokemon actually have like character now, they move on screen, they're not just like static 2D sprites, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The battles have different camera angles, they feel more dynamic. And all the multiplayer connectivity is great. I sit and Wonder Trade just randomly, like, oh, I just feel like capturing this thing just to throw it away and see what else I get.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blast. It really is a ton of fun. So yeah, that's easy for me. That's my number 5. Pokemon X and Y. Now, just to be specific, which one did you have? You had Y?
Yeah, I had Y.
Okay, I had X. So, yeah, just to be absolutely 100%, that's what I had. I didn't buy both of them.
Mm-hmm. Not really a point to, unless if you really care about catching everything.
I remember when you and I went to pick our copies up at a local store, and the girl who was running the event was like, "Okay, so people who are buying X are in this line, people who are buying Y in this line, and people who are buying both go to this line." And you and I both looked at each other and went, "Who would buy both?" This is coming from the guy who has every other Pokemon game. Like, I have Red, Blue, and Yellow. I have Gold and Silver. So, I get it. But at that point, it's like, who would spend $80+ on 2 Pokemon? Well, whatever. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Okay, moving on. My number 4 is Payday 2.
Oh, damn it.
Is that your number 4 too?
That's my number 4 too. Can we just call this good? To be completely honest.
Well, I want to at least go over the game a bit.
Yeah, but I'm probably going to just do what I just did, so go right ahead.
Alright. Payday 2 is, of course, the sequel to Payday the Heist. I find it, others would disagree, but big improvement over the first game. There are plenty of more heists to play on instead of just, 7 in the first one on PC. There's like...
Yeah, there's not too many in the first game.
There's like a good... I would say 18, 20.
Yeah, well, and then some with the DLC.
As of right now. But the developers themselves are still supporting the game. They're still releasing DLC for it. They're still bug fixing the hell out of it. Constantly.
Well, hey, at least it's playable.
Yeah. They're running events like Halloween, Christmas. Shame they didn't do a Valentine's Day one. But they're just constantly working on the game, making it better, making it more difficult. Because I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to my games. But and they're extremely receptive to the community. They listen to people's concerns. If there's an issue, they'll look into it and most likely fix it. They communicate daily on the forums with the users. I generally don't like some of the things the users say because they sound like self-entitled kids. But at least they have their head right in how they want their game to go. Payday 2 is, a heisting game. You go around stealing stuff, whether it be from banks, moving drugs,
armored cars.
Yeah, stealing from armored transports, doing stealing art, robbing a senator's office. It has plenty of variety in it. And there's just tons of guns now from comparing to the first game. The gameplay, I feel, is more tight in this game as compared to the first one. It's not kind of clunky like the first one. And yeah, it's just overall fun to play with friends, The game is pretty difficult, so you got to bring your A game when playing it, but I would definitely recommend playing, especially with friends, with the game. A couple of complaints with it. I just got a brain fart right now.
Well, I'll talk about some stuff too then.
Yeah,
since it's
go right.
While you're trying to come up with some negatives. Yeah, the game shines in multiplayer. I mean, single player is fine and all, but multiplayer is really what the game is meant to, is what it's built for. And it's fantastic. Everything has been improved, and yes, they take criticism from the community to try to improve the game, but I think they have an idea about where they want the game to go. And there's just some things that they won't budge on, which is fine. But in general, they do try to fix everything possible. And yeah, whenever they do events, it's fun. I don't know, it's all overall a very, very solid game. Much better than the first one in terms of variety and sound and everything. So yeah, I second pretty much everything you said. I don't really... I mean, it was everything that I wanted in the sequel and more.
Yeah.
And we were playing since the beta got released, so...
Yep.
Watching it improve is also kind of fun.
Okay, my brain stopped being dumb.
Okay.
So some negatives with the game is I really do not like the pseudo RPG system they have in the game. More along the lines of how you gather quote unquote loot. is that whenever you complete a heist, there's a card drop system where you choose between 3 cards at the end of the heist, and what you pick is this sort of loot that you get. It can be masks, patterns, colors for the masks, and weapon attachments.
And money.
And money and EXP, the most unwanted loot drops ever. But the problem I have with this system is the problem that generally everyone else has, is that it can take a long time to get the specific loot that you want. More for me, it was a specific mask that I've been waiting on ever since it was put into the game. I just recently got it, like a week ago, and it's been in the game for like months now.
And you play all the time. So
I play all the time, so yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's okay, but it's really unnecessary, especially in a shooter. I get the whole leveling system because that was kind of like how they had it in the first game. So that's fine. But the whole loot system just needs to be refined a bit more.
I will say on the positive side, it feels like you're actually improving.
Oh, yeah.
In the second game. In the first game, you would level up, and it really didn't feel like you were gaining any ground. I mean, you were, but it was so minuscule, it almost didn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's also 4 different skill trees that you can spec out in. The Enforcer, the Technician, the Mastermind, and the Ghost. Each have their own special abilities and skills that you can buy and have while you're on the heist. And you can mix and match as much as you want. You can go solo into one tree if you want to get all the best high tier stuff. But it's a balancing act between the amount of skill points you have left, and what actual skills spread out that you want to actually have. I mean, I've spent a good amount of time just staring at skills, going, okay, if I do this, get that one, then I can get this other one over here. It's just a mind game, I would guess. You know,
it's time consuming, but it's worth it.
You really have to think yourself out and what you want to be in, and you know, it's fun every now and then to switch what you're specialized in. The main point of this is to have, you know, a crew of people who are specialized in specific skills. You know, you would have one that's, you know, the stealthy guy, one that's the guy that has all the equipment to break in, one, the tank type character. You know, it's to encourage, again, multiplayer in game. But I'm sitting at over 220 hours in the game, and yeah, I find it fun. Oh yeah, I know that I said that there's a lot of heists, but after a while, especially with me playing it for 220 hours, they get kind of boring.
Yeah, but that happens with any game, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also the level progression in terms of how much EXP you gain from certain heists just don't work as they sit right now. Really, once you hit like level 75, 80, you're really pretty much only limited to playing like 3 heists to gain any suitable amount of EXP. But other than that, I'm still playing the game constantly. Played it for a couple of hours today. Pretty much every day since it came out. So I'm still interested in it, and if it sounds something interesting to you, look it up in the forums, watch some gameplay videos so that you get a better grasp on exactly what this game is about. And then
buy it on PC.
Yes, buy it on PC because they have a much better support.
It's far more robust and a lot more immediate. than it would be if you were to buy it on a console.
Yeah. I think just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, console just got their first update. And this was the update from the beta that they had. So...
And it's not a very demanding game. I mean, our friend Alex got a Windows 7 laptop. I think at Christmas.
It's a very basic laptop, not really suited for gaming, and he can play it just fine.
Yeah, he has to, adjust the settings a bit, but it works, and he can play it, and he has fun with us. So it's not a very demanding game, so buy it on PC anyway, even if you just have a PC. Unless you have a Mac, then I don't know what to tell you.
Unless if you have Mac, then we'll just say buy a PC.
Yeah, buy a PC just to buy this game, because it's a really good game.
I wonder how many more we have in the same spots. I'm pretty sure those are the only two.
I don't think you have the other three. Actually, I'm pretty sure you don't have the other three at all. So.
Yeah.
Alright, so, yep, that's number 4, Payday 2. We both agree. This is awesome. Number 4. So, number 3, go ahead.
My number 3 is Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds.
What? That's not number 1, but it's Zelda. It deserves a 10 out of 10 and a gold statue. And it's amazing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not a Nintendo fanboy, so I don't instantly say number 1 best game ever because of it, but it is still a pretty good game.
Well, it's number 3. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I do love the throwback to A Link to the Past, how it's practically the same world. The swapping in between worlds, the light world and dark world, is interesting because instead of... Well, it was kind of like that in A Link to the Past where you had to only warp at specific spots. Well, I'd say in Link to the Past you had more freedom at it. In Link Between Worlds, you only go through like these cracks in the world. The whole wall walking ability is pretty intuitive and will rack your brain quite a bit in certain dungeon puzzles. Like, you will sit back and think for a while as to how to get past certain puzzles.
Yeah, it really expands the possibilities, the ways to solve things, because not only can you walk, forward, back, left, right, and whatever, and go around things, but you can also go through cracks, you can go through bars in a jail door, anything you can squeeze a piece of paper between, you can essentially just walk through.
And it's not some, thrown-in gimmick like other games where it's just used very little. It's used the entire game. And they expand upon it the entire game. It's never really the same as you play through, which is great. They also introduce a couple of new weapons, such as the sand staff, the whirlwind thing. I forget the name of it, which is interesting. And personally, I did not have any problem with Ravio. One of the new things with this game is that you don't find equipment in dungeons anymore. You buy them from this character named Ravio, while you rent them from him. And eventually you can buy them later to keep. But as you're renting them, if you run out of hearts, then he will basically take all of his items back, and then you'll have to re-rent them. I honestly did not have any problems with that because I'm very careful with my health and I make sure I don't die. So I practically never died. And eventually when I bought everything, then I just didn't have to worry. But the great thing about buying the items from him is that you're pretty much open to go to any dungeon you want. And each dungeon has its own, in the very first room, as to what items you'll need to go through it. So you're never really halfway through a dungeon and then you'll need bombs or something. There's always a good tell to let you know what you need at the specific times. And yeah, it's not that big a deal. It really opens it up to not be as linear as Link to the Past was.
I will say I did enjoy that, just the freedom to go wherever I wanted and kind of explore on my own. Granted, it kind of runs into that problem that some games do, where you get into an area that you're not really supposed to be in because the enemies are just so overpowered.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also you can upgrade all of the weapons and your sword to their ultimate versions. I do like the Street Pass feature where you basically battle other people's links. You know, they'll have the same stats, and then you have specific weapons that you equip them with. And then you basically fight an AI...
Shadow version?
A shadow version AI of that character who is really hard to fight. But it's kind of fun to run into someone, fight their Link, and then collect their bounty if you defeat them or not. But yeah, overall, Link Between Worlds is a great game. It is very fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall game mechanics of it are so intuitive that you'll never get bored playing through it at all.
See, now I thought I would hate the ability to rent items because I thought that took away the entire point of a Zelda game. But when I actually bought it and started playing it, I did really enjoy, like I said, just exploring and being able to go wherever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than being tied to, you have to go to the Forest Temple. Go to the Forest Temple. You're not at the Forest Temple. Why are you trying to go to this temple instead, you idiot? You're supposed to go here. Okay, now that you have the hook shot or something, now you can go over there. It's like, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a person who really likes the Metroid series.
Yes.
Oh, I can't get through the door unless I have a super missile. Darn it. Oh, I have the super missile, now I can go back over there.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, I really enjoyed the whole rent items thing. So, yeah, I agree. So is that it for your number 3?
Yep.
Alright, so my number 3 is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between... No, I'm kidding. Surprisingly, that's actually not on my list, because, again, I didn't play it that much. I probably should have dumped it into honorable mentions, but I thought 3 was enough.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so my number 3 is Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. I knew you wouldn't have this on your list, because... yeah, because you don't have a Wii U. I picked this game up shortly after it came out, probably just before Christmas. It's the best Mario game since Mario Sunshine. Granted, Mario Sunshine is still my favorite overall, but this one comes dangerously close to usurping it. It is so much fun, so ridiculous. The controls are spot on. I love the world layouts. I love all the levels. I love the progression. All the little nods back to earlier Mario games, like they brought back the Tanuki suit. Now, some people say this is the dumbest thing I ever read, but I read one review where the guy quoted it was a port of the 3DS version. This is not a port of Mario 3D Land. This is a brand new game. Granted, it's got the same art style and the same kind of camera angles and things you would see in the 3DS version, but it's not. They brought back all of the classic characters from Mario Bros. 2, so you got Luigi, Peach, and Toad, all of which have their abilities from Mario Bros. 2. Except Toad just runs really fast, because I know his ability in Mario 2 was he was able to pick things up, and he had a lot of strength, which doesn't come into play at all in 3D World, so they made him the fastest character, so okay. It's a blast in multiplayer. It really shines when you have 2-3 people going at once. And, it's fun. Trying to find all the green stars and stamps and things. I don't know. It made me smile more than once, and I had about one euphoric moment where I honestly was absorbed into the game, and I haven't had that happen to me in a long time. Well, obviously there's 2 more games on the list, so 2 other games did it to me too this year. But, you know, where you're just so invested in the game that you kind of lose track of time.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened to me in a while. And it's the only complaint that I have about the game is that tablet controller. There are a select number of levels where you are required to use the tablet controller. And I don't care to. I prefer just using the Wii U Pro controller, which looks more like a standard gamepad, like an Xbox 360 or a PS3 controller. I much prefer to use that, and so when I get to those levels, they make me switch over to the tablet controller just to play it, and I don't know, 9 times out of 10, I don't really think it's necessary. I really think it's gimmicky. Like, in one level, they literally had it where you had to touch the little pieces on the wall to get the stairs to show up, and you had to blow into the microphone to get certain platforms to move, and it was, I don't know, it was just kind of like, okay, this is getting kind of gimmicky. But outside of that, the rest of the game is I mean, they're good levels and all, I'm not complaining, but it just seems like...
You just hate the forced controller change.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna support the Wii U Pro controller, you should support it 100% of the time, so that I don't have to fiddle with switching controllers in the middle of a game, because it really breaks the immersion. But yeah, no, everything about that game, besides that, is incredible. The music is classic. There's a couple new tracks in there that just are catchy as all hell. Yeah, and honestly, it's like I said, the best Mario game to come out in a very, very long time. And probably my second favorite, right next to Super Mario Sunshine. Because Super Mario Sunshine is just that much better. Sorry. Of course, I'm not including any of the classic 2D Mario games from the Super Nintendo or NES, because those are on a whole other tier.
Those are all on their own consoles.
But mostly, you know, because of nostalgia and rose-colored glasses and all that, so...
Yep.
But yeah, no. So, number 3, Super Mario 3D World, fantastic. Alright, go ahead with your number 2.
My number 2 is Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I pegged that as your number 1 because you were playing it over here last Sunday.
I'm playing through it again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I've always been a Phoenix Wright fan. I just absolutely adore the writing in the game. The characters are spectacular. The cases are just so mysterious that you just can't put your 3DS down just because you want to know what's going to happen next, what next plot twist happens within the courtroom. But the one problem that I've generally had over the entire Phoenix Wright series is that, you know, each game has its own little gimmick. Each game has its own character who can do their own little special thing in the game, and then that's all you do for the rest of the game is use that character with their special thing. This game, however, while it does incorporate its own little, I guess it's called like an emotion tracker. I don't know. Never really paid attention to what its name was, but basically you can get more testimony out of a character based on how they feel saying certain statements. Like if they're saying something that would surprise them, like, I don't know, like the rubble was going to fall on me, but they had a little bit of the happiness under that, you'd be like, that's kind of strange. Why would you be happy about stuff collapsing on top of you? So then you kind of poke that and, you know, get some more testimony out of that. And while that is used throughout all the cases, it's not like blatantly throw in your face every single time like previous games. Plus the great thing is that since it also has Apollo Justice, and God, I forget. Well, just Phoenix Wright. They also have their own little things that you use every now and then, like Apollo Justice's lie detection thing, where you focus really hard on the person you're talking to find their little ticks to give away if they're lying or not. And it's just overall balanced in the whole, what gimmicks are used in each, instead of everything being just one, which is kind of nice. And this is, I think, the first Phoenix Wright game that actually has DLC, which I recommend buying if you love Phoenix Wright. The case itself is 7 or 8 hours long, and considering the DLC only cost you $7, I think that's highly worth it. Plus, it's not some tacked on DLC, it's it's a complete case all the way through. You're doing everything that you would do in the regular game cases, and it just pretty much expands on gameplay, game time, whatnot, and is just as fantastic as the cases that come with the game. But I pretty much got myself absorbed into that game when I bought it, and I pretty much just played just that game all the way through over the week. And now, because I love it so much, I'm playing through all the cases again, which you would think would be kind of stupid because, you know what's coming. Well, yes, that's true, but the thing is that it conflicts with what you know already. You could be like, well, I know I have to present this because this points to this, but I haven't progressed further enough because I haven't established the thing back here. So then you forget to do that, and then you go, I present this. Wrong. What do you mean it's wrong? I know that's right.
The bloody knife with his DNA on it, how could that possibly be wrong? Oh, because first I have to establish that he's actually the plaintiff.
Yeah.
Or the defendant, or whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that. So it's not so you just knowing everything. There's already way too much for you to remember to know exactly what to do at each point. So even then, you're still trying to refigure everything out as you're playing, and it's just a blast. If you're a fan of visual novels type games with a compelling story, strong characterization, and just overall great to play through, then go for it. One thing that I did want to state is I was a little worried about the transition from 2D to 3D, just because sometimes you just don't get it right in terms of 3D, but they nail it in the 3D. The overall style hasn't changed one bit. It's great because the characters actually have some lifelike movement to them because they're 3D models instead of 2D models, and it just doesn't look any different from any other Phoenix Wright game. I mean, you'll know they're 3D models, but the overall art direction of them is exactly the same as the previous games. It perfectly fits.
It kind of, the way that game looks, it kind of reminds me of Pokemon X and Y, where they brought them into 3D, but they're cell shaded, so they look very flat.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're 3D, technically they look more like a 2D image.
Yeah. There's my number 2.
I'll have to play that, but I have the other games in the series. I have 2 of the 3 of them, I think.
Well, plus, don't you say that you kind of don't want to buy it because it's only digital?
Yeah, $30 is a lot for DLC for a download game.
If I do have to complain about it, yes, that is my only complaint, really, is it's only digital.
It's $30. See, what they should have done is they should have put it out physically for $40, like other 3DS games tend to be, and then be like, hey, but if you buy it digitally, it's $10 less.
Yeah.
Then that might be, a real compelling reason. But the fact that they just threw it out digitally for $30, that's a lot. and I'm leery about buying. I'm a little bit better now that Nintendo finally made it so you can re-download past purchases, and it's not just tied to the system now.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied to your account, like every other system does it. But so that's a little better. But because my thought always was,
does that include all past purchases?
Yeah, like once you create your account, it just knows.
It basically retrofits all of the other past purchases you had.
Yeah, that's what they said it's supposed to do. I haven't looked at it much myself because I have everything already downloaded, so I haven't had to bother to re-download.
Good. Guess I won't have to worry about that then.
That was one thing I always hated. Just to go off topic a little bit, that's one thing I always hated about Nintendo and their consoles is you buy it and it gets tied to that console's ID or something. So if you were to buy another Nintendo Wii or Wii U or 3DS, you had to then go on the old system, download the system transfer kit, and transfer all the codes over. It would have been much easier if you could just log in with your name and password, get onto the store, and just mass download everything you purchased.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less of a headache. I especially when I got my Wii U and I had to I moved all my stuff from my Wii over to my Wii U. That took far longer than I felt it should have. It was a real pain in the butt to have both systems hooked up at once because my room's not really set up for that. I had only one input on the TV for it, so I was constantly swapping cables. It was a pain in the butt. I mean, eventually it got done and it's fine now, but I'm so glad they went to an actual
account-based system.
Account-based system. So that alleviates a lot of my prejudice against DLC on Nintendo consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But still, $30 is a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in number 2. So my number 2 is The Last of Us on PS3. Naughty Dog just knocks it out of the park. The PlayStation 3 is quickly becoming my favorite console, probably of all time. Obviously right up there with like PS2 and GameCube. But certainly of last generation, 360, PS3, and Wii. I like the Wii a lot, and for a long time that was my favorite. But the PS3 is just killing it for me personally. And The Last of Us is a superb example why. Great story, fantastic characters, just moments that rip your heart out. I've never been so engrossed in a game. I think usually what I do when I play games is I'll play a game for an hour or two and then I'll save and go about my day and come back to a game a little bit later that night. The Last of Us was 3 days straight of playing. Obviously taking a break to eat and
Mm-hmm.
But I was glued to the TV for 3 days straight. It was actually kind of funny. When I was getting really close to the end of the game, was when we were getting my pool. Was it the diving board was getting fixed or something? So the people came over to work on the pool, and I'm in the middle of this firefight, so I couldn't answer the door, and I was the only one home. So I quick paused the game, run downstairs. What do you want? Well, we're here to work on the pool. All right, go do that. I'll be out in a minute. Run back upstairs, keep playing the game, and then about half hour later, they were still waiting for me. So it was like, I'm sorry. It's really good. Honestly, I have very few complaints. But the story is so good, and it just... I know a lot of people, and I include myself in this, are getting kind of sick of the zombie game. And this, The Last of Us is a zombie game. They don't call them zombies. They call them something else. I can't remember what, but they're essentially zombies.
The infected. The turned.
Yeah, there's a term for them. Yeah, there's a different term for them, but it is a zombie game. But they did it right. The the gameplay aspects of scrounging for equipment, of scrounging for bullets, of scrounging for band-aids and alcohol and then crafting weapons on the fly is just so engrossing. I would recommend, if you're going to play it, though, don't play it on normal, because you get way too much stuff. They give you way too many health, med kits, and way too much of everything to craft. I liked it better playing it through on hard mode, where you could actually, should I use this now, should I wait, kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. Every single bullet for every gun you had was precious. You did not want to miss. I took my time trying to shoot people because I didn't want to miss. Very rarely would you find ammunition. And it's stuff like that. It's literal survival. It's not like Left 4 Dead where you feel over... Left 4 Dead's a bad example because that's also very good. But they don't give you unlimited ammo and an AK-47 and you're good to go for the majority of the game. It's
not like Fear 3.
Oh God, Fear 3. Yeah, it's not like Fear 3.
where they try to throw horror elements in it, but you're completely overpowered that nothing is really scary.
Yeah. Stealth plays a big part in The Last of Us, and I found myself actually using stealth more often than I normally would to clear rooms of enemies, or just bypass them altogether. Again, just to save ammo, just to save equipment for later. Ellie, the little girl, you play as her at times, but, normally you play as Joel, and she doesn't get in the way. She's actually a really good partner character. She's not frustrating like in Resident Evil 5. I don't know. There's very little bad I can say about it. I guess the only thing I could say about it that's kind of bad is... Well, no, I can't. I won't say that anything because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. Just, I loved it. It was fantastic. Obviously, it's my number 2 of the year, so not the best game I played this year, but very, very close. And if you haven't played it, I urge you to. Even you, Phoenix. I know you just got a PS3, or your brother did, or something.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't take it with him. It's right here in my room.
Fantastic. You should go buy that game and play
it. I'll consider it.
Yes, please do. It's well worth it. Yeah, so that's my... Oh, by the way, I cried. I cried at least 3 times in that game at various moments. And I don't know, it moved me. And very few video games have actually done that to me, where I get so invested that I'm literally emotionally upset at points. And, yeah, so... The Last of Us, number 2. Fantastic. Great work, Naughty Dog. Now get to work on something on PS4 to give me a reason to buy one.
Uh-huh. Alright. My number 1, the Big Daddy. I would say probably people might complain because technically it wasn't released in 2013, but it was released in 2013 on PC.
Technicality.
I don't care. It was released. It was re-released in 2013 on a different platform. So I count it. And that is Dust and Elysian Tale. It was originally released on the Xbox Live Arcade back in August of 2012, but later came to PC in May of 2013, so I count it. I was never... I couldn't believe how blown away I was as to how perfect this game was. The art direction in it was completely spectacular, that it just felt like I was playing a cartoon. Nothing seemed out of place. The characters just blended perfectly in with the background. And it was just fantastic. I've never been so engrossed in a story in all my life. It was just completely mind-boggling over just how great it was to play through this. The characters are all likable. They have great characterization. All of the different areas you move through just are beautiful. And the fighting mechanics are just flow smoothly. It's very easy to transition from ground attacks to air attacks to your special whirlwind attacks. And it just plays like a dream. You know, you can't... I can't honestly describe the experience of playing Dust and Elysian Tale other than you need to play it to experience it. Because it is just something that you have to experience.
It is very smooth, I'll say that.
Yeah. I'll just say probably one complaint that I have with the game is it's too easy on normal. It's very easy on normal. If you want a true experience with it, I would recommend starting off playing on hard. Just because you're pretty much bombarded with item pieces and money and health items. So, and plus the monsters really don't do that much damage to you, other than bosses. But yeah, I would just say start off on hard. Because that's where I would say you would get like the true experience with it. Yeah, no, it's just a fantastic game. I can't praise it enough over how great it is. Obviously, I would recommend if you do get it on PC, play it with a controller. Play it with a controller. Play it with a controller. I don't care how much you like your keyboard mouse. It just doesn't feel the same at all. I tried. And it just didn't work. But, yeah, no. Get it. Like, I bought it when it was half off, meaning, because it's on Steam for $15. I bought it when it was $7.50. I felt guilty for buying it for $7.50. That I didn't spend the full price on it.
How dare you wait for it to go on sale?
Well, how dare I spend $7.50 on it when I should have spent $15 on it?
Exactly. How dare you wait for a sale?
You know. Well, it's just I didn't know. I didn't know. I looked at gameplay of it. It looked fun, but you know, of course, it didn't have any of the story. It didn't have any of the background stuff in it. So I was just, like, yeah, I'll wait a bit on it. But yeah, no, it is completely worth the full price of admission times 10. Quite honestly. Just.
And best of all, it works in Linux.
Yep, it is Linux and Mac compatible. So
you don't have an excuse.
So whatever your system, you don't have an excuse.
I'm blown away that pretty much everything was done by one person.
Yep.
That's the. I brought up the page here. His name is Dean Dodrill. Or Dodrill.
Mm.
The fact that he did almost 99% of the game is just amazing.
Yep. So get it. You have no excuse not to because it is on all platforms except PlayStation stuff. So go.
Oh, that's right. It's not on PlayStation.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's on XBLA, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS X.
Mm-hmm.
So, or OS X. So yeah, I guess it's. I thought it was on PlayStation, but I guess I'm wrong. That's okay. You can play it on Linux, so you don't really have an excuse. Linux is free. Go get it. I will say, Dust. I just started playing it recently. And I am blown away as well. It's very, very beautiful. It's one of the better looking games I've seen in a long time. The art direction's great. The character designs are fantastic. And yeah, the combat is just the most enthralling thing about it. It's very rewarding. It just feels so perfect. The fluidity of everything, it's great.
Mm.
So yeah, I second everything you just said. Even though I haven't played it probably near as long as you have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Game of the Year stamp from Phoenix923 of OceanOfThieves.com. Kathunk. Yeah, put that on the label. Along with probably... I have seen a couple other websites actually mention Dust, so that's nice. Granted, they didn't mention it in 2012, but,
Mm-hmm.
The only rule for this list is it has to have come out in 2013 in some form, so yeah, you're still within your right. Heck, I put Pikmin 2 on my list last year because it came out on the Wii,
Mm-hmm.
which I got some flack for, but I don't care. It's on the shelf next to all the other games. All right, great. So that's your number one. All right, so moving on to mine. Number one of the year is, and this will be no surprise to Phoenix. However, I had to be reminded that this game came out in 2013 by our friend Alex, which is Fire Emblem Awakening.
Mm.
I love Advanced Wars. I love Fire Emblem, and I try to get all the Fire Emblem games when they come out now because they tend to disappear into the ether 6 months later, and you just never see them on shelves.
And then they go stupid expensive on store sites.
Yeah, I'm still looking for a copy of the GameCube version. God save me. But luckily I got the Wii version.
I have that one.
Yeah.
and the Wii one.
Yeah, I bought the Wii one as soon as I saw it, as soon as it came out. But anyway, I just remember the game came out and I had to drive to 3 stores to find one. It was sold out everywhere. I eventually found one way out on Alpine and brought home, played it, and 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 played it. And I played it. It is the most rewarding turn-based strategy game I've ever played. The mechanics are absolutely spot on. The characters are great. The story is amazing. The cinematics are beautiful. The partner system, I forget what it's called in game, but it's where you can join two people together on the battlefield, and their relationship starts to manifest. The more and more they help each other out on the battlefield. It's nail-bitingly difficult, especially more so if you play it in classic mode, where when a character dies, he's literally gone.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a casual mode. I think they do call it casual mode, where you can revive them after the battle, but I don't like that. I mean, it's great that it's there as an option, but I prefer just to play the way it was intended to be played. And the DLC for it has been pretty consistent, and I've bought a couple of them. It's just fantastic. It's I don't know what to say. It's the same basic game, kind of like Pokemon X and Y. It's the same basic mechanics. You've got your rock paper scissors battle mechanics and turn based, and you just go around each map killing everybody. But the story is so much better in this game than it was in previous games. The characters are more interesting, and like I said, the ability to match up different people into groups for the relationships to grow is just so rewarding. I think it was the first game that was like a must-have for the 3DS and really started the 3DS. Gave a shot in the arm to 3DS sales.
Mm.
I know our friend Alex bought one just for Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
So, that, and he heard that Shin Megami Tensei 4 was going to be on it. And now there's Fire Emblem cross Shin Megami Tensei. So that's going to be interesting. But, I bought it mainly because there was that cross promotion. Where if you bought Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei 4, you got $30 back in eStore credit.
Yep.
So, yeah. That was also kind of a reason. But, no, it's by far the best game I've ever played this year. It rarely ever leaves my 3DS unless I buy a new game. And then I play the new game for a bit, and then I switch back to Fire Emblem. It's especially great just as a portable game, because you can, make your move, and then, put it in your pocket, and then come back to it, and you haven't really lost anything. So, it's a great little portable game. You don't have to be too involved in all at one time. But man, I just got so used to restarting. Oh no, my cavalry died. Oh no, Don died. Restart. So, it says I've played it for like 50 plus hours, but I'm sure I played it longer than that. It just doesn't record all the times I have to restart. Which is frequently. Like I said, I'm not good at it, but I still like it. Eventually I figure it out. And yeah, so Fire Emblem Awakening, best game of the year by far. And yeah, it came out in February, and I think this version of it is pretty easy to find.
Yeah, just looking on Amazon right now, it's still like $37. So
okay,
still close,
so yeah,
still close to retail.
Yeah, it's holding its value as all Nintendo games do, but at least it hasn't become scarce and skyrocketed in price. So you should be able to pick it up for around retail, if not less. So, or you can go on the eShop and buy it, because you can just download it now, can't you?
Yep.
So if you're into that, you can do that. But yes, it is fantastic. And I know, Phoenix, you don't like turn-based strategy games and stuff. I don't blame you, but you said you're a masochist for difficulty, and this is the most difficult game I've played in a long time, so
yeah,
you might want to give it a shot. Although you missed the cross promotion, because I know you picked up Shin Megami Tensei 4.
I don't care.
Yeah. I actually bought Shin Megami Tensei 4 knowing I wouldn't play it forever, just to get the promotional $30 back. Well, plus I got the collector's edition, so
yeah,
I got the ridiculously big strategy guide and stuff like that. Alright, well, that is my number one, Fire Emblem Awakening. So just to recap, we'll just quick go through our list again, but I'll go through mine first. My number 5, Pokemon X and Y. My number 4, Payday 2. My number 3, Super Mario 3D World. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 1, Fire Emblem Awakening.
And my lists: number 5 is Pokemon XY, number 4 is Payday 2, number 3 Legends of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, number 2 Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies, and number 1 Dust and Elysian Tale. All games I highly recommend you checking out if you're interested in any of them.
Yep. Anyway, we're going to just bypass our games we've been playing recently segment, mainly because the main focus of this was the top 5 games of the year for us. Now, one thing I'm going to change, though, is before we close out, as anybody who listens to this knows, I usually end on a random audio track from a video game. And I don't tell you what that is. It kind of is a little game, so you can kind of have fun guessing, or maybe you know. But I decided what I'm going to do now is tell you what the previous episode's ending music was. So that way you can guess, spend a month guessing, and then and then when we come back, you'll just know the answer. So we'll start that now. Last episode, I ended on an audio track which was Payday 2's Merry Christmas, or no, was it a Merry Payday Christmas soundtrack, which is a soundtrack they put out around Christmas time with Christmas-themed music, using the characters from Payday 2, and the song was A Heist Not Attempted Before. So, while not strictly from a video game, it is technically video game related, so I threw it in there. Plus, it was festive and funny, which also helps. So, yep. I still highly recommend you buy that game, or buy that soundtrack, and buy Payday 2, because, my gosh, it's great. Anyway, so that'll wrap it up for this episode of Welcome to Bonus Stage. I hope you guys had fun listening, and I hope you guys will join us next time. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below on the YouTube video, or if you're listening to this on your iPod, get on YouTube and leave a comment in the comment section below. Why are you listening to this on your iPod? That's just a waste of time. Besides, you should have an Android phone.
Because you know we always put hidden comments on our podcast, and you just can't see them because you're on mobile.
Yeah, it's all these annotations popping up that nobody's paying attention to. I'm just kidding. I don't deal with annotations. Waste of time. Unless they link to another video. Anyway, I'm waffling again. So, again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you guys on the next episode of Welcome to Bonus Stage. As always, I'm your host, Marauder.
And I'm Phoenix923.
And we will catch you guys on